As you saw from the thumbnail, the two items I purchased for today's video were extremely big. The first item that we're looking at is indeed an Xbox One S. I paid just £30 for this console, which isn't a bad deal at all. And our second item for today's video is, in fact, it barely fits in the camera, an Xbox Series X console. I purchased this one for £180. So in total for today's video, we spent £210 on two faulty items that we hope to fix and then sell on for a profit. The eBay listing for this Xbox One S I have here stated that the console turns on and then off very quickly, meaning the fault with this could be absolutely anything. You can see that we have quite a bit of dirt in the holes at the top of the console. It has in fact not been opened before, which is really, really good news, but I am concerned about the beep on, beep off. Let's go ahead and give it power to see exactly what it's doing. And just to verify that the eBay listing was correct, so I've plugged just the power in for the time being. We go to press the on button. Okay, so it does turn on. We get the white light eventually. It just took a little bit of time to get there. Okay, the white light is still on. There was quite a lot of dust that escaped from this console. The light's still on. I'm just going to plug in a HDMI lead. And if we go over to our game scene, do we get anything on the screen? Doesn't look like it. I'm pretty sure that if this does go ahead and just turn off because it's still on, that'll be around a minute. Now, around the minute mark, an Xbox One shutting down means that it has a faulty hard drive. At least I think. I could be completely wrong. We still have no output, and I think it's actually been a little bit more than a minute now, and the console is just still on. Okay, the Xbox is still spinning away and it's not shut off. In fact, it's very much still on. I don't know whether the customer was actually talking about that it didn't display on the screen instead of shutting down. Let's go ahead and take this apart and see what the condition of the hard drive is like. If the hard drive has failed, I think I know exactly what the issue is. This machine is so dusty. So I'm going to sort that out. Already looking 10 times better. Still extremely dusty, but so much better than what it previously was. So what I am going to do actually is quickly put the hard drive back in and just see if the machine starts up in safe mode. What happens on the game scene? Does it boot into safe mode? If it does, it just goes to prove that again we have a faulty hard drive. Okay, interestingly, fan spin, the beeps went off, but it's not displaying safe mode. I'm just going to check the HDMI port and see what that looks like. I mean, I should have checked the HDMI port before I tried to power it on, but at the same time, I thought this was a beep on, beep off, not a faulty display image. So maybe, just maybe, the hard drive is fine and it just needs a new HDMI port. So let me strip this down a little bit further. Now that we've got the board out, let's go over to the scope and see what the damage is on this port, because it looks like it's been shunted back. All right, yeah, it definitely has been shunted back. If you look at a normal HDMI port, this is what it's meant to look like on an Xbox One S. You see all of the pins. On this one, if we lift it up, I wonder if we have any torn traces. It doesn't look like it, but first things first, we're going to take this port off of the board. I'm pretty surprised, but I think this has actually turned out quite nice so far. I just need to go ahead and put a new port on, and to do that, we're just going to fill up everything with leaded solder again, heat the board up, and then drop the port into place. I just need to check if I've got any of these ports. Alright, let's get all close up and personal, and that is a lovely port. The strength on those legs is incredible. Let's go ahead and check the pins. Don't mind if I do. Oh, that one's a bit loose. That one's a bit loose. Loosey goosey. Okay, well, we're just going to go over them with some solder then. It may look beautiful, but it's clearly not as solid as what I thought it would be. So let's go over it. My method here is pretty straightforward, or should I say side to side. I constantly just continue going over the pins from left to right, applying flux, cleaning my iron tip, rinse and repeat. Okay, clearly this looks a lot better now. The solder goes over the pins rather than just underneath them, if that makes any sense. And that is again why I check my work a good couple of times to make sure, when I can remember to check anyway. How are these ones looking? They look a lot stronger. Yeah, they look a lot better than the previous, and there was no bridges from what I could see after I had sorted out those other bridges. That looks like a decent port to me. Okay, let's give it a test. Obviously, whilst we're en route to give it a test, we get rid of the old crusty thermal paste that we have, and we go ahead and give it the best stuff possible. Just like that. Okay, everything back together enough to test before I go ahead and reassemble the whole console and then realize that it doesn't work. Let's push the on button. We get power, that's good. Do we get anything on the screen? Here we go, please. Yes, okay, good. It was taking a little bit longer than anticipated. However, that's a result. Probably in this resolution because it's had a port change. I can't show you the stuff like the disk drive, etc. at the moment, but you can see that it goes all the way up to 4K Ultra HD. That's good. My monitor doesn't allow 4K, so we're just going to put it in 1080p for the time being. And there we go. I'm going to clean this console. I don't know what this bit of hair is doing up here, but I'm going to keep it there. I'm going to clean this console, do some quick tests, and then we'll call this one good as gold. I've just fully reset the Xbox. All is good. Disk drive works, Wi-Fi works, so that one is good to sell. Nice that we were able to repair that after our recent losses. Now, this is where the bulk of our profit is going to be. Can we fix the Xbox Series X? It does look like it is only the console, but also very nice that I have the original box. Right, condition of this at the top is looking really, really nice, and it doesn't seem to be, there doesn't seem to be many scratch marks or anything like that. Has it been opened before? No, it hasn't. It stated that on the job as well. The issue specifically with this one on the eBay listing was that it didn't have any power. Now, last time I put a cable into an Xbox Series X to test the no power, it blew the fuse board. So, is that going to happen right now? Let's try it. Here we go. No, is the answer to that. Okay, do we get power? No, no power. Okay. Interesting. In my limited experience with working with Xbox Series X's, that's either going to be the power supply or we might have a short on the 12 volt line. So let's get this Xbox Series X apart down to the motherboard, or at least the power supply so we can test. Here we have our multimeter. I'm just going to plug in the power now. We've got two layers of board here. You've got this cable which supplies 12 volts to the top board, and then you've got this cable down here which goes to the bottom board and supplies another 12 volts. So we're going to test both of the boards to see if we can locate where this short is coming from, or if there's a short. I guess before I do that, let me put the meter into continuity mode, which is the mode that beeps when we have a complete circuit. If I just put it on the positive pin, yeah, you can see that. So the positive pin, we actually have a short. What's it going to go to? 14 ohms, 7 ohms short, and that's on the positive pin, which is the left hand side. If I go down to the other board, we have, oh, it's doing some things. It's all over the place. I think right hand was positive. I think left hand's negative and the right is positive. So actually, instead, what I'm going to do is disconnect the power supply and see if we've got a short on the board just by measuring here instead. And then again, if we just zoom in, this would be ground. I think my multimeter's low battery, to be honest. Okay, so do we have a short on this top board? No, we don't. So this pin here is positive on the left. This one is negative, as you can see. If I go to the bottom board, so again, this is ground. If I touch the left, which I believe, I don't know which one's negative, which one's positive. Both of them are shorted to ground. So I believe our short is on the second board down here. That's my theory anyway. What I'll do is I'll show you the power supply now that gets 12 volts. I bet it does. I haven't tested it yet. I reckon we're gonna get 12 volts on both connectors. This is the bottom one. There we go, 12 volts there. And then the other connector is here. There we go, 12 volts. So our power supply, luckily, is actually okay. If I had to go ahead and replace the power supply, you'd be talking a lot of money. I think they range from somewhere between 40 to 60 pounds. So I'm kind of glad that that's not the issue, but I just hope that we can fix this board. So I'm just gonna carry on disassembling to get to the bottom board. Just before we do, I've never seen this, by the way. Look at this clip. This clip is very strange. Usually on the Xbox Series X, you push from the side. This one, I had to push from the middle. That's so weird. There's also no clamp around here. What? This was 14th of October 2021. I don't know if this is a newer revision of the board. I guess 2021 would be potentially the old revision, but this is very strange. Usually there's a shield that covers over this clamp. All right, I'm just looking for anything kind of obvious, especially on this side. We've got our thermal putty here. I'm pretty sure it was this side that I had a short on last time. So I wonder if one of these components is shorted again. I actually believe it was this one here, second from the bottom, but just on the face of it, I can't really see anything jumping out at me. No blown capacitors, nothing like that. Nothing looks dodgy, to the naked eye anyway. It might be a different story when I get underneath the scope, but because I've had one before, I'm just very quickly going to check the caps just down here on that exact same second rail to see if it is a common thing. Yeah, I mean, there is definitely a short somewhere. They're all going to be shorted because I guarantee it's going to be one of these chips. I don't know which one it's going to be. My guess again will be the second one, but it could be any of these. I'm just going to put this thermal putty onto the heatsink to get it out of the way. All right, so I'm aiming my probe at where it needs to be, and I know that this is the 12-volt rail on this little cap here, so I'm just injecting 1 volt and 1 amp, and I have 1 amp draw currently, but as you can see, nothing getting hot on that rail. We're only inputting 0.2 volts out of a possible 1, but the amp draw is 1 amp. I'm gonna go 3 volts, 1 amp, and see what happens. Exactly the same. So we need to up our amperage a little bit, so I'm gonna put it to 2 amps, and I'm actually gonna put the voltage down to 2 volts. Again, nothing showing hot on the board just yet, from what I can see. I'm gonna put it up to 3 amps of current, which should be more than enough to see what's getting hot. No, it's not showing anything getting hot. Interesting, nothing getting hot at all. And that was now with 12 volts at 3 amps. So we're injecting 12 volts, 3 amps onto the 12 volt line where we have a short to ground and nothing's getting hot. I've removed all the thermal putty as well, just to make sure that something's not getting hot and being covered up by the putty. But yes, absolutely crazy. Do you know what's funny, right? I've just gone to look at the schematics for the board. And if you notice, this board doesn't have any markings on. So I think it was like a ridiculously early revision or like a test revision. It's got the chip numbers, but it doesn't have the actual board markings. So for example, if I need to go and see component U9, I don't know where that is. Luckily, I think I've actually got another board that I can check that right now. Yeah, this is the other board I have, and look at all the details on this one. Whereas this one is absolutely nada. You might be thinking, Joey, why are you putting your hot air gun on? And it's because I'm going to remove this component here, U3. Supposedly on that top row, we get 12 volts in and then 3.3 volts coming out. And I don't know why I'm removing it. If I'm honest, I'm just going to take it off and see if our short's gone. Has our short gone? No, it hasn't. So we've still got a short. That component's going straight back on. Like I never touched it, right? I've been trying to look into this and I cannot for the life of me work out why something is taking half a volt but 3 amps and not getting hot. And I'm thinking, is that the APU? Perhaps it's only taking like such a small amount of voltage but running at 3 amps? I don't know. I've checked through some of the schematics as well. But truth be told, I'm not that good at reading schematics. Other voltage rails are there. We've got the 1.8, the 1.1, the 3.3 and the 5 volt. Everything is present except for the 12 volt, and everything is fine supposedly on the top board as well. And that's why I'll leave it over to you guys. If you have any experience with a Series X, feel free to just leave a comment about it down below, and hopefully we'll be able to try and get it sorted in a live stream, or at least just investigate a little bit further. We're going to move over to Sally's spectacular spreadsheet, and unfortunately I think Sally's going to deliver us some very bad news in today's video. Okay, so our total cost for today's video was £210. Parts wise, we were only able to fix the Xbox One S. The part for that HDMI port, I'm going to say £1. And that's being generous. The sell price, I'm going to be able to get £60 for the Xbox One S. I wasn't able to fix the Xbox Series X, as you are fully aware. Therefore, if I type in £60 for a sell price, my gross profit today is minus £152.80. Now we are going to try and fix that Xbox on stream, and things like the SSD and the power supply will more than likely make up what I paid for it. However, for this video, at this current moment in time, we have made a big loss. I knew all of those wins were too good to be true. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to hang out with me over here where we try and make another profit, or do we make another loss? Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.